Hey, come on, turn those frowns upside down. Let's go. We're at the World Championship, IDPA World Championship. Yeah! Woo! You ready? You ready, Alfred?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, we're ready. Canik's ready. What's going on, guys? My name is Nils Jonasson, and this is going to be a video about this year's IDPA World Championship. It's 2023, and I'm going to shoot a little IDPA with you. So the first thing I've got to talk about is what the heck is IDPA. So IDPA is the International Defensive Pistol Association, and it's essentially a sport shooting competition or organization that revolves around the defensive mindset or defensive scenarios. It's not as action-packed or fast as USPSA or IPSC because the scoring is more accuracy-based than it is speed-based. Let me show you what I mean. Here is your typical IDPA target. So in the body and in the head, you have a ring. That's what's called the down zero. Anything in the down zero is 0 time added to your score. Right here and here, what you consider the C zone on an IPSC target, that's called down 1. That's going to add 1 second every time you shoot down 1. And then this outer ring here, that would be a delta in IPSC, that's going to be a down 3, adding 3 seconds to your score. Missing the target completely is down 5. Generally, each target requires 2 hits, which means 2 in the 0 is going to add 0 time. If you have 1 in the 0, 1 in the 1, that's extra 1 second added to your score. And then if you have, say, 1 in the 1 and 1 in the 3, that's a combined total of 4 seconds. So you can imagine if you shoot at this target and you don't have any hits on it, it's going to be down 10, 5 per miss. So accuracy is very important. Another thing IDPA has is non-threat targets, and they look exactly the same as shoot targets or threat targets, but generally they have a set of hands delineating the fact that it's a non-threat or a hostage or a friendly. So those are going to be the 2 targets that you'll see in IDPA competition. As I was saying, this is the 2023 IDPA World Championship. It was held at the CMP range in Talladega, Alabama, and let's just jump right into it. It's a 15-stage match, and our first stage is stage 1. It's called a standard stage, and essentially it's a skills test. So this particular stage, start position, behind your start sticks, engage all targets with 2 to the body, 1 to the head, strong hand only, reload, then 2 to the body, 1 to the head, freestyle. So as you would normally grip your pistol. So this is a simple stage, but every point down is time. So let's see how I do.
Are you ready? Stand by.
An interesting thing on this one, you can't initiate a reload until you're done shooting, but you can have your hand on your magazine. So if you watch that, I actually, on the draw, get a grip on my reload as I'm shooting, and then when I initiate my load, it's a much faster reload.
Stand by.
This stage turned out pretty well for me. I shot it in 7.43 seconds, 0 down, so it was a clean stage. Stage 9, get off my porch. The scenario is you're cleaning your windows when you're attacked by gang members for standing up to them. This is my first actual stage in the match, and it's got a couple of danger points. These ports are dangerous because they're what's called a muzzle exclusion zone. So what that means is if you move the sheet or you move that window with your gun outside the window pointing towards it, it's considered unsafe and is actually grounds for a match disqualification. So this is a stage where, yes, you want to be fast, yes, you want to be accurate, but you also want to shoot the stages after this one. So that was kind of my thought process going into this stage. That was an extra move I didn't need, but I have just switched back to iron sights recently, and I'm not 100% confident in my shot calls. And that was a headshot at about 18 yards. So, cost me a little bit of time. Didn't need the shots, but I'm still glad I made them. This target right there. I called good shots, but I wasn't trusting those shot calls. That stage turned out okay. My raw time was 21:48. I ended up second on the stage to JJ Rakaza. So decent stage for me, nothing crazy, but again, I finished it so I could finish the match, or at least advance in the match. Sometimes just finishing the stage is more important than winning it. All right, stage 8, the stage scenario. You're picking up your son from a party, but you find yourself at the wrong establishment, and they're not happy as they attack. IDPA does this thing with scenarios, so you're presented with a situation, a scenario that could be a real-life situation, and then you need to solve it while following all IDPA rules. This stage was a 16-round stage, and I actually elected to try and shoot it clean with no makeup shots, putting myself at exactly 16 rounds, which was a little risky because of the shot difficulty, but saved myself from doing a reload of any kind, and I ended up making those hits, so it was a good trade-off for me. So my raw time was 15:11, which wasn't the fastest raw time of the match, but I shot it clean, which did give me the SSP stage win. Stage 11, barbecue. You're enjoying your favorite barbecue joint when beggars decide to take your money and draw their guns. Again, an IDPA scenario. I didn't get a full video on this one, but these targets all require 3 hits on engagement. And I also had a stage plan that had a tac load in between the first position and the second position. It's an unloaded start, so I'm holding a magazine with 15 rounds in it in my hand right now. Tac load, I forgot to do it exactly when I left the position, so it's a little choppy, but it's fine.
Clear. Slide, trigger.
And then that headshot in the back was kind of my Achilles heel on the stage. I ended up missing that target. So like I said, it required 3 hits. I only had 2 on it. And part of that was because I was favoring away from that non-threat, because a hit on the non-threat is 5 seconds. I just was a little bit too conservative and had 1 off the target. So apparently I need to be more accurate. Stage 10. Couple options as far as the start position. I elected to go around the left side, which I think gave me a better presentation of the targets. Nothing too crazy on this stage. From that first position, I engaged target kind of half-heartedly. So I could say I engaged it and then move on and shoot it in a more advantageous position. Saves me a little bit of time. Ended up working out for the stage, but kind of a gamer way to shoot that. Okay, this is kind of cool. So your gun is sitting on a laser activator, and when you remove your gun that's unloaded, it triggers this turner. So you have only so much time to load your gun until it appears. Attack reload, which I forgot. I wasn't super happy with my stage plan on this, but I was, I think, the first or second shooter, so I didn't have a ton of time to get a game plan. I dropped a couple points, but you know what? At big matches like this, you're gonna drop points. You know, sometimes not on targets you want, but it's gonna happen. This is interesting. So you see this target engagement right here. The target behind it has a non-threat by it. So things like that you're also having to pay attention to in IDPA, where yes, it's a close target, but you're constantly aware of what's beyond your target in case that bullet hits something that you might not want it to. And you need to account for that in your stage plan. This door was a lot heavier than it looked like, and no one was able to test the door in their walkthrough. So every competitor felt the door for the first time when they were actually shooting the stage. So it presented a couple problems. One, because the second you start cracking that door open, it activates this dropout target, which is a single appearance target. And so this target right here is triggered by the second that door starts to crack open. If you just nudge it open and the door opens slowly, it you know, the dropout opens just like normal, but the door doesn't pass your line of sight until sometimes it is too late. So you needed to give it an extra oomph or an extra shove to get that door out of the way so you can get that first appearance or the only appearance of that tip out target. So this stage worked out pretty well. I did drop a couple points. I was 3 points down, but my raw time was a 16:09. So with a total of 19:09, that was actually a division stage win. Stage 14, car, is super unique in that it required some low light shooting. And I actually went out and bought a flashlight specifically for this stage, and all it is like a rear on-off flashlight. It's 500 lumens, so it's got good illumination capability, but you're essentially fighting the headlights that were in this dark room so you could see the targets you needed to engage. So pretty different stage. So you had 3 targets out in the open, and again, the non-threats came into play because they're basically blocking the targets or they're directly behind your shoot targets. So the one in the middle is the closest, so that's your primary or your priority target, and then the other 2 are a second level of priority. So you had to shoot one and then the back 2. So I did a tack load moving from that first position to the far left. So all I had to do when I went to the center was kick open the door while I was grabbing my light out of my pocket, turning it on, and acquiring my grip. So I was trying to do as little as possible because that's not something I practice a whole lot or ever. So worked out pretty well, ended up winning the stage. Raw time was 20:58. Final time after a 1 point down penalty was 21:58. So that did it for my first day of shooting. Right here you're going to see an equipment check or a chronograph. And essentially what's going on here is they're checking my pistol to make sure all the safeties work, to make sure it fits the box for IDPA. So there are certain dimensions that different divisions need to fit within. And then also to make sure it meets the weight of stock service pistol, which is the division I was shooting. So it fit the box, all my safeties worked, it made weight, and then right now he's checking the velocity to make sure I'm meeting minimum power factor, which turns out I am. And that does it for day 1. So we're gonna wrap this up and go straight on to day 2. All right, so the first stage in day 2 was stage 3, lawn care. And the scenario is armed robbers descend on your house while you're watering the lawn. So this one has 2 swinging targets that you activate by pulling this hose cable, and you have to engage them first before you can engage anything else because they're surprise targets, they're out in the open. IDPA. So I shoot a far target from this first position so I can eliminate a position later on in the stage. You'll see that with the hat cam. Now, honestly, my hits were pretty sloppy on this stage. I think I had, what did I have stage 3?
Are you ready?
I was 6 points down, and I didn't miss anything. So I had probably 2 points down on one of the swingers and, you know, a point here or there kind of throughout the stage. But there were some non-threat targets, so wanted to avoid those. And you see that left target here in this array. I shot that from that first position, so I never had to go to this front left position towards the end. Next up is stage 2. Stage name is Friends. And the scenario on this stage is you're shopping at the mall and bad guys have your friends. Find them and rescue them. This was a fun stage. This first position, I kind of gamed the array a little bit. So that earns me my first procedural and my only procedural for the match. But yeah, IDPA.
Stand by. Finish unload, so clear. Clear, slide forward, pull the trigger, and hold.
So that one with the procedural, I finished 3rd. Other than the penalty, I was 2 points down. So my time was the fastest raw time, but those penalties really hurt me. All right, stage 5. Scenario, you're attending a friend's wedding when the bride's ex arrives with his boys to take back his girl by force. This was interesting. So you had 3 different levels of priority. So these first 2 targets are priority 1. Your next level of priority are these 5 in the middle. And then your 3rd level of priority are these back 2 targets on either corner. So what that means is you have to engage your highest threat target first. So if it's close, if it's out in the open like this, you have to engage that target before engaging a target further away. So you had to engage 1st level priority, 2nd level priority, 3rd level priority. And then shooting SSP with 15+1 in the gun, I had to be fairly conservative with my shooting speed to ensure my reload was where I wanted it to be and not cause other problems. So decent stage, really. I did have 1 point down. I think it was on the back left target.
Are you ready?
Just kind of fading away from that, or favoring away from that non-threat target. So 1st level priority, 2nd level of priority, 3rd level of priority. All while watching non-threats both in front and behind your target, the target you're shooting at, which can be a pain in the butt and definitely got some very good shooters in this match. Next up is stage 4. And stage 4 was cool because you got to back out on this first array of targets, which I thought was fun. My raw time on this stage was 13:39 and I was 0 down. So that was a stage win by a couple of seconds for me.
Ready.
Again, very conscious of where those non-threats are. You don't want to shoot them and you don't want to shoot through them. So All right, so stage 7, backed in an alley. So the scenario is one wrong turn down an alley and you're accosted by the bad guys. This is a pretty standard stage. You're backing up from these first 3 targets that are out in the open. And everything else is straightforward except for the single appearance target at the very end that's triggered by this port. So again, it's a 16 round stage and I have exactly 16 rounds. So empty gun, 16 for 16. There was one headshot on that far left corner that I wasn't happy with, but it was still a down 1. So I could do a standing reload, but it wouldn't be worth it for me. You see right here. Just a little bit of hesitation. One thing to kind of check out on this stage, so if you notice when I open these ports, so again, this whole thing is a muzzle exclusion zone. If I come in here and I'm pointing my barrel at the muzzle exclusion zone and I put my hand on there to push that little port down, that's a match disqualification. So in order to avoid ever being called on a procedural or a match DQ for that, I keep both hands on the pistol. So you can straight up use the muzzle to poke the port. What I like to do is I don't like to put that much pressure on the gun. I don't want to knock it out of battery and induce a malfunction. So what I'll actually do is I'll tip the gun up slightly and I'll push the door with my hand. So kind of the front of my left hand and the bottom of the muzzle simultaneously are pushing that port, and then it opens right up. So that stage was decent. I dropped again at one point and I was a little slow, but at this point I was also in the lead by a few seconds, so I didn't want to do anything too silly. Last stage is stage 6. This is a 3 round per target stage with vision barriers. And what that meant is you could shoot through these vision barriers. Again, I had a little bit of a lead coming into this stage, so I didn't want to risk anything silly. So I just decided to shoot it straight up and did a little extra movement, but eliminated the potential of a miss or a procedural because the bullet tumbled in the barrel. Again, 3 shots per target.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Stand by.
Nothing crazy, not lighting the world on fire. I just wanted to get decent points on the stage, not penalize myself too bad, and just shoot the stage. So it's exactly what I did. My raw time wasn't the fastest, but with only 2 points down, my final time of 14.20 was a stage win. So even shooting conservative, I managed to pull out a stage win. All right, final stage of the match, stage 15. This is a cool down stage, but it's just as valuable as an actual or any other stage in the match. So it's just like our warm-up stage, but now it's a weak hand. So procedure is start behind your start position. First 6 rounds, which is all yours loaded in the gun, weak hand only. Mandatory reload, freestyle, 6 rounds. It's 2 to the body, 1 to the head, weak hand, reload, 2 to the body, 1 to the head. So simple stage, risky stage. So with a little bit of a lead going into this one, you just put the sights in the middle of the target, grip the gun how you need to, press the trigger, be patient, especially left-handed. The t-shirts are an interesting twist on this type of stage. The scoring zone isn't in the middle of the cardboard, it's actually kind of in the top 2/3, the top third of this target here. So I think I dropped 2 points on this stage, which definitely bumped me out of a stage win. But at this point, I didn't need to win the stage, I just needed to not do anything silly. I would say the best thing about IDPA that I think doesn't get enough credit is the simplicity. And what do I mean by that? We obviously need a gun. I shoot the Canik Rival-S in 9mm. You need 3 magazines, and you need a holster and 2 mag pouches. So the holster I'm running is the factory Canik holster that comes with the Rival. I've modified it slightly, so I put it on a Blaytech Tech Lock, and I put a little bit of a thicker spacer in here to give it a little bit different adjustability characteristics. But this is the factory holster that comes with my pistol. And then these guys are a universal style mag pouch from FPS Holsters. And it'll fit anything from a CZ or a Canik or a Glock magazine even. So these are super cool. They're like 35 bucks. So the equipment requirements for IDPA are so much less than some of the other shooting sports, which is really, really nice. Anyways, that is the 2023 IDPA World Championship. My name is Nils Jonasson. Thanks for watching.